Today is Thursday, January 3rd. Today has definitely been an interesting day. I do want to see what's going to be coming up next on the afternoon. I want to see what's going to be coming up, in the following weeks, because we're in 2019. And yesterday was the kickoff to 2019. And guess what? We started seeing some very nice spikes. We started seeing some very nice moves, right? Today, we've seen some nice moves to kick things off. Now, we did see most of our long plays happen in what time period? Most of our long plays, happened within the first 10 to 15 minutes and then turned into some shorting opportunities. I did try to get filled on a few different plays. Unfortunately, I couldn't get filled on a few different plays. But with that being said, I think a great strategy to start getting yourself into, and I've been stressing it all morning, is start waking up a little bit earlier, guys. Start getting in pre-market. I am telling you right now, probably the most profitable time of the week, of the day, is going to be in pre-market. Now, why are you going to start seeing some of the most profitable time in pre-market? Because we are in 2019, and since we're at the start of the year, all the companies that have been saving up their good press releases are going to come out within the next week to 3 weeks. All right, from now for the next 3 weeks, we're going to see a lot of big hot press releases. And what did we see today? Right? We saw a lot of solid, good press releases. We're at the start of the new year. Traders now want to kick off, company CEOs want to kick off their business on a great, strong note. They weren't releasing these, the last 2 weeks of, 2018. There's Christmas, there's New Year's. People aren't in the market. They want to start 2019 off on a great note, right? So if you guys look, we're seeing some good news right here. We have ALQA, which came out with an update to shareholders, and guess what they came out with today? They started coming out with a special dividend, ALQA, and their special dividend that they came out was $1 to $1.20 per share. That means if I bought 20,000 shares, held the stock for 6 months or to a year, whatever their dividend date was, they would give me a $20,000 just from holding that stock. So that stock had an awesome news and a nice gap up. We had COCP. COCP announces an exclusive worldwide license collaboration agreement with this big company, Merck. We had IZEA announce a significant contract wins in December. We had KTOV signs a marketing distribution agreement for its lead product in pharmaceuticals, right? This was a worldwide agreement. We had MYOS receives a new patent. We have FDA development. SCSN announces positive data over the last year. We have VRCA achieves positive top-of-the-line results on its phase 2 trials. We also had BTAI, which came out with a press release this morning on BTAI, which stated we have a positive human trials on met our primary endpoints. These are awesome press releases with some big-time potential behind them. Right, guys? So I definitely want you guys to be understanding that. I definitely want you guys to be focused on that we have some great news. And a lot of people are like, well, Dek, I don't want to wake up at 7 a.m. And then I always get, well, Dek, I live in California. That means I got to wake up at 4 a.m. And then I get the, the one, random guy who may live in like Hawaii or something like that, who it's like, Dek, that means I got to wake up at 4 a.m. or not even 4 a.m., 2 a.m., something along those lines, right? And it's like, you know what? Depending on where you live, I definitely understand. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying that you guys are automatically going to be making tons of money, or that if you guys wake up, you're going to be making money on that day. But I'm saying right now, the best potential area is going to be in pre-market, because pre-market is when these hot press releases are coming out, and pre-market is when we're seeing some of the best moves, right? And those best moves, if we just start on this list right here, ALQA. So let's turn on pre-market really quickly and just see what we have. We have ALQA, and what do we have in pre-market? We have a very nice move on up all the way from what area? 215 all the way up towards around 293. And we have COCP. And we have COCP that goes from $4, runs all the way up towards around 553. And then we had KTOV. And KTOV went from 77 cents all the way up towards around $1.27. And then we had VRCA, which just had a random little gap up, all the way up towards around $10 right here from its previous close at $8. But what I'm saying here, guys, is the news is going to come out from 7 in the morning till 9 in the morning. We don't know what time the best news is going to come out. It changes all the time. Sometimes it comes out at 2 in the morning. You can trade it right at 7 in the morning. Sometimes it comes out at 7 in the morning. Sometimes it comes out at 8. Sometimes it comes out at 9. And I'm talking about Eastern time. You could be in California. It could come out at 4, come out at 4:30, 5, 6 o'clock, whenever. If you guys are living in Hawaii or Asia or wherever you guys may be, it could be a completely different time. But you guys have to, again, be ready for pre-market. Now, again, I'm talking about waking up. There's some of you guys that, have the luxury. I think, what time? If you guys live over in England, what time does the market open? I think that market opens at like 5 o'clock or like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You guys are good. Sleep in. Sleep in as long as you want. Wake up, cook some eggs, eat a ham sandwich, and just be like, all right, I guess I'll start looking at the pre-market. You guys have a little bit of luxury right there, being able to sleep in if you guys are trading over in Europe, right? It's pretty sick. But that's when we're seeing some of our biggest activity. So if we're just going through some of the biggest gains real quick. KTOV, morning ripper, right, or a pre-market spiker, morning ripper, and then it started dying on off a little bit. BTAI, we got our pre-market spiker, morning ripper, dying on off a little bit. We have SGYP, pre-market spiker. We have our nice little ripper right here, starts dying off a little bit. ALQA, what are we seeing? ALQA, pre-market ripper. This one actually dumped on off. IZEA, this one had a gap up, didn't really do too much after that. But the thing that we're kind of seeing as our common consensus is what? The thing we're seeing is our common consensus is that we are right now looking to buy either in pre-market or at the bell. That's going to be the strategy most likely for the next week or so. So that's why I'm going to be awake. And the saying that I always say is, hey, sacrifice sleep for profit. If you sacrifice sleep for profit, that's how you guys are going to be very successful. Now, there's some times that, nothing's going to happen. You may wake up at 7 or 6 or whenever you guys wake up, and you guys are going to sit here for 2 hours, and you know what? Nothing comes out at all. And you're like, oh, I could have been sleeping this whole entire time. Yes, you could have. But that one time that you do sleep in, guess what? Something's probably going to happen. What do I like to do during this time? I usually, turn on some music. I put on YouTube. I start playing some music, get me going a little bit. I start, searching around, maybe start answering some emails. As we know, hot press releases usually come out every 30 minutes from 7, 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30 with, little 15-minute intervals, here and there. A lot of times I focus at 7, 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock. During, let's say, 8:05 to 8:25, I answer emails. Then maybe from, I watch at 8:30, then 8:35 to 9 o'clock, guess what I do? Or whatever time, that little break, I may start eating breakfast. And then, I always try to find something to do during those periods. It's not like I'm just sitting, staring at the scanner, boring myself to death. I'm definitely still, trying to stay productive in other ways, while I'm awake and, while I'm getting these things done. So just something you may want to think about. But let's talk about the top gainers. Let's go over the top gainers. Why are the top gainers, up? That's what I always like to talk about as well, because I don't want to sit here and just be like, oh yeah, KTOV is the best top gainer of the day. You guys got it? Good, cool, let's move on. No, I want to go over the reasoning. Why is KTOV up? Why is the stock going on a 56% move? Why was the stock profitable to traders? What was the reasoning behind it? If we understand the reasoning behind this play, the characteristics on what made the stock become a top gainer, we're able to study this and be able to find future top gainers. That's the whole thing, guys. Even if you play a stock and you lose, guess what? Understand why you lost so you don't make that mistake in the future. If you see a top gainer, study the top gainer so you know what to look for in the future. If you have a win, study your win so you know what to do again in the future. It's all about studying. It's all about breaking these plays down. It's all about working hard and understanding what makes a good stock spike. So let's go into this. Not only does this give you guys an education, but this is going to give you guys confidence. So the first thing you always want to do, does the stock have any sort of news? If the stock has any sort of news, a stock is going to rip from either a press release or from a chart pattern. A lot of times, if you see a press release, it's very simple. January 3rd, bada boom, right here, we have a press release, and what we have here is KTOV. Signs a marketing and distribution agreement for its lead product in the U.S. for pharmaceuticals. We are to receive $3.5 million milestone payment and 40% and 60% of the net profits. Awesome right there, right? And we have in our lessons, as you guys know, over in the video library, on tradecaster.com right here. If you guys just go ahead, search Dekmar trades, you guys are going to be getting all their lessons. As you guys know as well, we have over 200 hours of lessons. You guys do not need to pay for these. I know it says a little 79 next to it in TradeCaster tokens. We're getting rid of that, and then we're making all these 100% free, again, underneath your monthly membership starting next week. So you guys will be all good for that. So if you guys don't want to, look at those now, just you guys can look at them probably starting, on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. So you guys can, work your way through those and dive in. All right. With that being said, KTOV, we have a lesson that talk about what keywords to look for in hot press releases, right? Keywords to look for in hot press releases, right here. If we see any of these keywords, we know automatically we should be doing what? We should be, definitely be taking the stock a lot more serious. If we see these keywords, we know that's going to be a hot, press release. And what press releases do we have? We have the word agreement. Right? We have the word agreement. That's the first one I come across. We know that's number 13 right here. 3-star word, the word agreement. Agreement is two companies working together. It's a partnership. Right? We also have the word receives. If a company receives something, it's like getting a gift. It's getting something. That could be money, asset, employees, any locations of buildings, whatever. And what are they receiving? Well, they're receiving $3.5 million. They're receiving any large sum of money. So we have an agreement to receive a large sum of money. That's a great thing for keywords to look for in hot press releases right here, right? So with that being said, KTOV, absolutely awesome, absolutely great. Distribution agreement to receive $3.5 million. This came out at what time? 7:19 in the morning. I was awake for that. I texted this out at everyone at 7:20, 7:21. KTOV, I try to pull the trigger right here at 83 cents. That's when I try to get in on this play. Try to pull the trigger at 83 cents. It jumped my order, and it spiked all the way up towards around 90 cents. Now, the stock did go from 75 cents up to 90 cents. I thought I was chasing here. I thought I was in too late. I'm like, oh, it's probably going to get stuffed at $1. Guess what happened? Stock ran up towards around 110. Then I was like, all right, well, now I'm not getting now. And then, boom, now it runs up to 135-ish or so. Now it's sitting above the 50-day moving average right around 140. Try to pull the trigger. I just missed it. Am I upset with it? Not really upset. More kind of a little disappointed. I couldn't get in at the area that I wanted to get in, but I'm happy again that I was able to see this, that I was able to find this play, that I was able to be right on top of this play right at 7:20 in the morning. You know why? Because I was awake. You know why? Because I sacrificed my sleep for profit. Right? If you guys are sleeping, right, and I just come in there, I'm like, hey, wake up. You got a big press release. If you wake up right now, you're gonna make $500. Every single person would jump out of bed. If someone said, hey, you wake up at this time, you'll make $500, you'll jump out of bed for sure. So, that's how I kind of think about it. Do I like waking up at 6:50 in the morning? Absolutely not. I would much rather sleep, and go all the way to 12 o'clock, right? That would be awesome. But you know what? That's not my style. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be an unproductive, lazy person. Why would I do that? Oh, I don't know. You get to sleep in and then you get, and it feels good to sleep in, and you kind of feel a little bit more, energized, and yeah, that's about it. It's like, screw that. It's like, I want to make some money instead. So I'll sleep later. I'll sleep when I'm dead. All right, I want to make some money. So KTOV, this play went on an awesome rip because of its press release. Now again, good press release, good hype. Investors are trying to start their 2019 on a strong note. People are pushing up this play. Why did this stock, automatically come back down, bounce right here? Why did it bounce right here? We can see at this area, the horizontal line, bounce, 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 and it pops back up towards around 135. Comes back on down, bounce, 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 right towards around this 115-ish mark, and that's kind of where it's sitting at right now. Because that's right here, blue line, 50-day moving average. Right? We always use the 50-day moving average, right? What are indicators? What are my favorite indicators? Lesson number 26, guys, right on tradecaster.com. That's what we always look at. And we could see that, the 50-day moving average is a very strong support line. And that is going to help the stock be able to move on up. Now, if it dumps it, it doesn't have support really till $1 and all the way back down to the 13 EMA of 85 cents. But this was a great play for waking up early, getting in on this play, and be able to see the stock, go on a nice time move. Right? Awesome. What else did we see go on a nice time move this morning? BTAI. BTAI. Again, we already talked about it. Is there a reasoning behind this play? There is. We have BTI reports positive human proof of concept data for acute treatment of agitation in patients with Alzheimer's diseases. Now, I'm sure every single one of you have been keeping up with BTAI and their human proof of concept data, acute treatment of agitation in patients with Alzheimer's diseases. Of course you know exactly what they're talking about. Dek, are you serious? Absolutely not. Most of the things that we talk about, guys, in these press releases, we have no idea anything about their drugs. Don't worry. So if you guys like, Dek, I don't know about this, all right? You don't need to. Why? Because we have our keywords to look for in hot press releases, right? We have our keywords to look for in hot press releases. We have meets primary endpoints. We know primary endpoints 33 and 34 are a really big thing we want to look at. We have what? that we have the word positive, reports positive data. We have our number one word right here. Excuse me. We have our number one word right here. Positive, 3-star word. You don't need to be a doctor. You don't need to be knowing exactly all the stuff. That's why we have our keywords look for in hot press releases, right? And since we have this, now we could break it down a little bit more in the chart. We say, hey, you know what? If we break through this 50-day moving average, we could definitely start seeing a little bit of hype. A little bit of a gap up, 50-day moving average sitting where? Right around this 478 mark, 475 natural resistance. What do? We run right up to 478 right away. We hit that 478 mark. We come back down. We come back up to 478. We break 478, and boom, breakout, baby, all the way up towards around this 587 mark. But then what happens? Sell-off starts happening. The stock starts coming back on down. So BTAI definitely have a little bit of trouble right there just because it couldn't hold up its gains. But once again, press release came out, big time rip, then it led to a little bit of falling, right? What else did we have? That kind of had a nice big potential this morning and started falling. COCP. This was an interesting little play. COCP had a great press release this morning. And COCP, this stock went from $3 all the way up towards around $5.42, right? And then when it opened up, it went from $4.29 all the way up to $5.27. This was an awesome press release this morning. COCP, where we saw what? Announces an exclusive worldwide license agreement and collaboration with Merck, this company. The CEO stating, we're thrilled to work with Merck, a preeminent research-intensive pharmaceutical company, in the advancements of influenza A/B antivirals. Again, you guys don't need to know what antivirals A/B influenza is. All you got to know is that the CEO is thrilled to work with this company in an exclusive worldwide license agreement, right? So again, that's where the positivity comes through. And notice, we're going to be seeing these press releases a lot. 2019, the first month or two, people want to start off on a good note. Not only traders want to start off on a good note, companies want to start off on a good note. A lot of times we don't really think of these, stocks as companies. Sometimes I look at a play and I'm like, hey, I'm playing stock ABC. And it's like, I don't even know maybe the name of stock ABC. I don't even know what maybe ABC even does, but I read they had a great press release. I know they have a great chart setup. They have a lower float, and I know that big time buying volume is going to move in. Because again, I don't really care enough. I don't spend enough time on these plays where I care about their next year's revenues. I'm a day trader. I'm going to trade today, and I'm going to buy in, and then I'm going to sell probably within the next 10 minutes or so, right? So the next 10 minutes, I'll buy in, and 10 minutes later I'll sell, and that's when I'll get out. So it's like, get in, get out. I don't care about what they're doing next year. I don't care what the CEO has a statement of, next week, right? I care about what that press release is today. That is the most important thing. But, we did have a very nice play this morning. KTOV, wanted to go over that one. We kind of wanted to talk about some of those other press releases the next few days or the next few weeks. And on top of that, guys, last little play, VTVT. VTVT, I still think this is a great possible swing trade coming on up just because it's setting itself up in a nice little bull flag pattern. So again, anyone who's listening on this play, make sure you guys check this out for the future coming right here. Nice little bull flag pattern. If I want to draw this out, what could I do? Again, we have let's just go with a blue line. We have our initial spike straight up. We have a little bit of lower lows right here, or lower highs, and then we also have a little bit of higher lows. If we extend that or take that picture over here, we have our spike right here, right here. That leads to a what? A nice little bull flag pattern, which could lead to a spike coming on up in the near future, right? As we already know, bull flag patterns look just like this in person or in real life. Nice spike, consolidation, nice rip. Nice spike, nice consolidation, nice rip. Here's one 1 minute chart. Let's see if we got one on the daily chart. Here's a nice daily chart one. So you'd basically be looking for something like this, or something right along these lines. Notice again, trying to get a little bit consolidation, look for that pop. So as long as it stays above, like I would say like 260, you guys still have great potential on VTVT in the future. All right, so I wanted to go over a recap today. I want to talk about all of them. CHFS. Also, a little bit of reverse stock split. That stock tried to U-shape for a second, but then then it started dumping on off. Still a pretty solid play, but it's just too risky stuff. But CHFS reverse stock split. We'll keep it on watch. SAEX popping up right now. No, nothing really right there. But we are going to see a lot of breakouts coming up in the near future, guys. I showed you guys this yesterday. I've showed you guys this last week as well. Again, FinViz is one of my go-to websites. It's a free website. It's absolutely great. Right now, we can obviously see the markets are taking a little bit of a toll, right? The Dow's down 600 points. NASDAQ's down 166. S&P 500 is down 53. right? It gives us great information. That could tell us that maybe we want to look a little bit more to the short side than we do want to look on the long side right now, right? So, but what I do always want to look at is what? Price underneath $10. So if we look right here, price underneath $10, and we have all the exchanges right here. So I just want to put price underneath $10 because we don't have any price. This is all the stocks that are currently available to trade, 7,526. And that's on the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, and the Amex. So we have 7,526 stocks. We usually place stocks underneath $10, so that eliminates it to 1,993. And look at this. If we look at what stocks are overbought currently, we put a 70. We only have 20 out of 1,993 stocks. There's only 20 stocks in the whole entire, penny stock world, basically, that are considered overbought on the RSI. Guess what that means? That means the majority of them are more towards the oversold side, right? And since we have the majority towards the oversold side, guess what? When the market starts picking back on up, that's when we're going to see a lot of big time rips. That's when we're going to see a lot of big time pops. Oversold, 705. 705 stocks are oversold. And guess what? People are going to start buying these oversold stocks soon. You don't short an oversold stock. It's already oversold. Just like you don't buy an overbought stock. It already got all its buying towards it. So I already stated this as well, but I just like to make sure, repetition is great, that when are we going to see all these oversold stocks start moving on up? When are we going to see supernovas come back? When are we going to see, the big giant spikers like SAEX right here, where we have a $30 rip? When am I going to see an ALT spike? When am I going to see an RKDA, $65 spike? When, Dek? When? All right, and most likely, we have to base that off the SPY. Most likely, the giant spikes would start returning when? When the SPY gets back above the 13 EMA. And on top of that, guys, when we come out with an agreement with China. The last 3 months, the SPY has fallen. And why is that? Because over the last 3 months, we have been in a truce with China over this trade agreement. And we've taken the last 90 days to talk to write out what we want. They wrote out what they want. And now coming up in the next week or so, we're going to be talking to China and sitting down with them, their president, and trying to come up with some sort of agreement. Once we got an agreement, they shake hands, everything's good. We're working with our biggest, trade friend. What's going to happen right here? Market's going to pop right back on up. Not saying they're going to run all the way up to the high and break that, but I'm saying they're going to definitely look a lot more stable. So that's going to be definitely very nice. So I would say wait until we get back with 13 EMA, or on top of that, when the trade agreement happens. Now, I'm not saying we're not going to see spikes. We're still going to see a lot of spikes regardless because of the new year, because of the hot volume. The last 2 weeks have been great in the penny stock market. We've been seeing spikes all the time, but I'm talking about supernovas. That's probably when we're going to start seeing those. All right. So just a couple things that you guys should definitely keep in mind, and making sure that you guys understand. Very important stuff. Just want to make sure that you guys realize that, and you guys, of course, are going to be all good. So if you guys have any other questions, comments, concerns, please let me know. Happy to help. And I look forward to working with you guys, of course, every single day. So again, awesome job.